Hey everyone, welcome. Get comfortable, and let's get into tonight's Reddit stories. Imagine coming home and finding the laptop you saved for months to buy smashed on the floor, and the person who did it tells you they did it for your own good. How do you move forward when the person you've been with for a decade suddenly decides your hobbies are morally corrupt? And what do you do when that belief turns into them destroying something you love? My girlfriend destroyed my laptop because she thinks fiction is degenerate. How can we get past this? I'm a 24-year-old guy, I'm a trans man, and my girlfriend is 27. We've been together since I was 13 and she was 16. So about a decade now, with some breaks here and there because of different issues. But up until now, it felt like we'd really stood the test of time. We live together in my apartment, and I pay most of the bills. She works part-time. I just bought a new laptop a couple of weeks ago. I'd been saving for months because my old one was dying and couldn't really handle what I wanted to do anymore. I also bought a 2-terabyte external hard drive because I had years' worth of stuff I wanted backed up. Things like my writing, pictures from my transition timeline, voice recordings from when I first started testosterone, old photos of my mom who passed away, basically everything important. I've always loved fiction. As a kid, I read constantly. I was reading at a college level when I was still in elementary school, and that never really went away. I like most genres, and I'll try almost anything, but fantasy is the one I always come back to. A Song of Ice and Fire was my first big obsession. Like, middle school, way too young for it, staying up way too late reading under the covers kind of obsession. It's still my favorite series above everything else, and it's a comfort thing for me. I play The Sims 4 to unwind, and recently I started an A Song of Ice and Fire themed save. I downloaded custom content and mods, built families from the different houses, spent hours setting it all up with an empty save file and renaming the world so I could do rotational gameplay. It sounds nerdy and time-consuming because it is, but it makes me happy. It's how I decompress after work. Lately, my girlfriend has gotten really intense about being anti-fiction. She says fiction is degenerate, especially fantasy. She thinks media that has violence, incest themes, and stuff like that, even if it's completely fictional, is morally corrupt, and that just engaging with it at all is contributing to society falling apart. She says adults who immerse themselves in made-up worlds are stunted. She told me she didn't want me doing the Game of Thrones thing, and I told her it's fictional and it's not hurting anyone. She said that doesn't matter because fiction normalizes immoral behavior. I told her I wasn't going to stop reading or playing what I enjoy just because her views have changed, and that my hobbies don't affect her. Yesterday, I came home and my laptop was on the floor with the screen shattered, and the external hard drive had a dent in it. She admitted she did it. She said she refuses to live in a house that platforms degeneracy, and that sometimes you have to take action for the people you love. She told me I'd thank her once I wasn't addicted to fantasy garbage. I told her to pack her things and leave. I didn't scream. I just said I'm not living with someone who destroys my property. She started yelling and said I was choosing made-up people over our decade-long relationship. She brought up how she supported me through my transition and implied I owe her patience because she stayed when other people didn't. She also likes to remind me she knew me before I was a man when we argue, which is honestly pretty weird. She went to stay somewhere else and has been texting me that couples work through disagreements together and that I'm proving her point about being too attached to fiction. I feel really messed up because she's basically been my whole life. I don't really remember most of my teen years or adulthood without her. But then I look at my now broken laptop and I just feel so upset. A lot of people in the comments are calling this what it is: deliberate destruction of property, and a huge red flag. One top comment straight up says he's dating an abusive wacko and tells him to change the locks, file a police report, and use her admission to help with a restraining order or an insurance claim. Another commenter points out that this wasn't some impulsive damage to a minor item. This was an expensive computer he'd saved hard for, and an external drive full of irreplaceable memories. They say he should never excuse or forgive this behavior, and that if he has her confession in writing, he should report it or think about suing for damages. They remind him he's only 24, with decades ahead of him, and he doesn't need to drag this trash into his future. Someone else shares a personal story about an ex-husband who would destroy anything that took attention away from him. It started with him throwing a book into a fire pit and escalated to the point where they were afraid to show interest in anything, even worrying about their cat's safety. That commenter warns that people who destroy the things you love are dangerous, that this is not normal or acceptable, and that he needs to get out of the relationship before it escalates further. What do you think about this situation? Is this just a rough patch in the relationship that could ever realistically be worked through? Or is smashing a partner's laptop and hard drive a line you just can't come back from? If you were in his shoes, what would you do next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Imagine moving in with the person you think you're gonna marry, and then a week later, you suddenly end up as the full-time caretaker of a puppy you very clearly said you did not want. What do you do when, "Sorry I messed up," doesn't change the fact that your whole daily life has been rearranged without you agreeing to it? Girlfriend brought home a puppy after I said no. Last month, my girlfriend and I moved into a one-bedroom apartment together. We've been together for about a year. For context, I pay most of the rent and the other expenses. Since we moved in, she's been saying she really wants a puppy. I like dogs, but I'm not ready for a puppy right now because I know exactly how much work it takes to raise one properly. I told her I'd be open to getting an older dog at some point in the future, but definitely not right now. Part of the reason is that I work from home, and I just don't have the time to be letting a dog outside every 45 minutes. I could not have been clearer about how I felt. Then, a week ago, I came home and there's this 8-week-old yellow lab in our apartment. She works in an office, so I've spent the entire week taking care of the dog. It's a great puppy, and I'm taking really good care of it, but it's starting to wear me down. My partner has admitted she messed up, promised that she'll take care of all the puppy responsibilities, and promised she'll never do anything like this again. She also said she will not rehome the dog. A few weeks ago, I honestly thought this was the woman I was going to marry. She has so many great qualities and is a wonderful person. Now I can't even stand being in my own home. I look for any excuse to leave. I'm scared I'm starting to resent her. Is it crazy to throw away an otherwise great relationship over this? I'm honestly shocked by how disrespected and hurt I feel. I don't know if I'm being unreasonable or not. Top comments said he's not unreasonable at all. A pet is a long-term commitment that both partners have to agree on. Bringing home a puppy after a clear no was seen as a major red flag. Many people said the relationship might already be over. Either he keeps the dog and resents her, or she gives it up and resents him. And several pointed out this shows a serious lack of respect, especially since he pays most of the bills and works from home. Others were blunt. They would break up immediately. They said she didn't mess up, she ignored his boundary. And refusing to rehome the dog means she's still overriding his opinion. Some even warned that if she can make this kind of unilateral decision about a dog, she could one day do the same with something bigger, like kids. What do you think? When someone ignores a clear no and makes a huge decision anyway, is that something you can move past? Or does it permanently change the relationship? If you were in his position, would this be the breaking point? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Imagine your partner secretly going through your phone, finding months of carefully hidden evidence, and then wiping it all out with just a few taps. And you were keeping that evidence because you thought you might need it for a divorce. What do you even do after that? My wife went through my phone behind my back and deleted all of my screenshots and conversations. How do I even handle this? Last night, while I was in the shower and then went out to walk our friend's dog, my wife went through my phone and found about 5 months' worth of evidence that I'd been keeping hidden. We were separated for a few months, and then she decided to move back in around the holidays. Ever since then, it's just been nothing but problems, so I started taking screenshots of our conversations, pictures of things she broke, pictures of her pills when she was thinking about overdosing, and a few videos. She asked me why I had all of that hidden, and I told her it was just in case we ended up getting a divorce. After that, she went and deleted everything I had hidden, deleted our conversations on my phone, and then deleted them on her phone too, so I wouldn't be able to recreate everything I'd already done. Luckily, I had already sent everything to a family member, and I told her I hadn't sent it to anyone. I also had a note on my phone that goes back 5 months where I've been writing down everything that's happened. She hasn't found that yet, but I went ahead and sent a copy of that to family too, just in case. I'm seeing my therapist tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna talk to him about everything that's going on. A lot of people zeroed in on the practical side first. If you're going to secretly collect months of evidence, why leave your phone so easy to get into? Some people were really confused that you went to all this elaborate security in terms of screenshots, notes, and backing things up to family, but apparently didn't have a solid lock screen, any kind of hidden storage, a separate SD card, or some more secure way to keep it out of your wife's reach. Others focused more on the bigger picture. This relationship just doesn't sound healthy at all. From the separation, to her moving back in and it being nothing but issues, to you documenting broken things and possible self-harm, to secretly backing everything up to relatives. People felt like this has gone way beyond normal marital conflict. Some people went straight to the conclusion that, in their opinion, you should have already filed for divorce. They questioned what real difference all those screenshots and notes would make in the end, compared to just leaving a situation that seems so dysfunctional and painful for both of you. What do you think about this whole situation? Is keeping months of evidence a smart move in a troubled marriage? Or is it a sign that the relationship is already over in everything but name? And how would you handle a partner going through your phone and deleting things? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Imagine your partner walks out the door for a late-night fishing trip, and the next time you hear about him, he's in another country with another woman, and you're pregnant with his child. No fight, no goodbye, no explanation. What are you even supposed to do with that kind of betrayal? My partner left for another woman while I'm pregnant, and I'm still trying to process what happened. I just need to vent and get some perspective because it feels like my whole world has been flipped upside down. I'm 24, he's 25. He left home on Tuesday night saying he was going fishing and that he'd be back at 2 in the morning. He was messaging me all night right up until about 11:30 on Wednesday morning, when he said he'd call me. That was the last message I got from him. I was waiting for that call, and I haven't heard from him since. It's now Saturday at 12. He has literally just vanished from my life. No contact. His mom heard from him this morning and confirmed he's in New Zealand. That's all I know. He still hasn't contacted me. This isn't some maybe affair. It's confirmed. He's with a woman. I'm not exactly sure of her age, but she's probably in her mid-30s in New Zealand. She's almost 10 years older than him and has 2 young kids. She knew he was in a long-term, committed relationship with me, and I'm sure he told her I'm pregnant. I asked her weeks ago how long their relationship had been going on and just begged her to be honest, and she ignored me and then deleted her Instagram account. I'm pretty sure that was out of fear or guilt. I also messaged her on Wednesday on Facebook asking her to at least tell me that he's safe, and she ignored that too. From everything I can see, this trip was planned. I've done everything for him. Every single thing. I've fought for him every day. I've supported him financially, emotionally, physically. I've tried to help him get a job, get his license, helped him apply for work, helped with his mental health. I've cooked, cleaned, held him when he needed it, forgiven him for past mistakes, more than anyone else in this world would have. I've been with him for 6 years. 6 years of love, forgiveness, loyalty, and trying to build a life together. And he threw it all away for a stranger. He's stepping into a stepdad role for her 2 kids while dodging responsibility for his own flesh and blood. I've forgiven emotional cheating before, but I don't think I can get over the physical betrayal. Over the past month, his drinking has been insane, anywhere from 12 to 30 drinks a day. He gets emotionally unstable and has previously threatened self-harm if I leave. He's had psychotic episodes while drinking. There wasn't even a big fight when he left. He said he'd be back, kissed me, hugged me, and kept talking to me like everything was fine. Logically, I know he's alive and that he's left me for another woman. Emotionally, my brain hasn't caught up. I'm still expecting a call. I'm still expecting him to walk through the door and come back home to me. I'm stuck between accepting that this is complete abandonment, trying to figure out if alcohol or his mental instability is driving his choices, trying to protect myself and our baby, and trying to stop myself from obsessively checking my phone. I really don't think I can get over the physical betrayal. I've forgiven emotional cheating multiple times before. But this? Him actually leaving me for someone else while I'm carrying his child. I just can't process it. If anyone has ever had a partner disappear for someone else after you've given them everything and they just vanish, how do you survive that? How do you detach without completely losing yourself? Reddit's top response is really blunt and straight to the point. The main advice is to not take him back if he ever decides to come crawling back. After disappearing like this, they say, letting him in again would only open the door to more pain. Another highly upvoted comment lays out almost an emergency checklist. First, change the locks or move out so he can't just stroll back in like nothing ever happened. Second, again, don't take him back. Third, start actively planning a life without him, emotionally, financially, and logistically. That commenter also warns you to be cautious. Because of his heavy drinking and history of emotional instability, they say you should be prepared in case he reacts badly or even dangerously when he doesn't get his way. One of the top comments breaks down his behavior like a resume of red flags. He doesn't have a job, you're the one supporting him, he's drinking heavily every day, he's emotionally cheated before, and you've forgiven him more than most people ever would. Their takeaway is that, as awful as this feels right now, him leaving might actually be a twisted kind of favor. In their eyes, he's shown himself to be an unreliable alcoholic partner who doesn't respect you, and they believe that in the long run, your life and your child's life will be better without that in your home. What do you think about this situation? If your long-term partner vanished to another country to be with someone else while you were pregnant, could you ever consider taking them back? Or is that a line you just can't uncross? Share your thoughts, your experiences, and what you think her next steps should be down in the comments. 2 weeks into dating this divorcing dad, he's calling her his soulmate, talking about building a sex dungeon and trying to order her around outside the bedroom. She knows something feels off, but every time she tries to pull back, he talks her right back into it. Now she's wondering if the only way out is to end it over text and then just disappear. I'm dating a divorcing dad, and it's starting to take over my life. I started seeing a guy I originally mentioned in my last post. Not only did he want to commit, he wanted to commit within 2 weeks. He started telling me I was his soulmate and that he'd never felt this way about anyone. He had already told me he loved me. Honestly, I got swept up in it, because when we weren't together, he was on the phone with me and my whole world started to revolve around him. He has a nanny and other childcare, so he was spending an insane amount of time with me. Then things went in directions I did not expect. He introduced a BDSM aspect to our relationship, a dominant submissive dynamic I'd never done before, and supposedly he never had either. But he was super excited, talking about creating a sex dungeon and impregnating me. He mentioned wanting to use my dog's collar on me. If you're thinking this is all way too fast for 3 weeks, I agree. But I was so mentally wrapped up in this relationship that I kind of went blind to it, and I think I got a bit isolated from the outside world since I was on vacation. I know this is unhealthy, and I would bring it up, but he'd soothe my worries by saying this is what true love feels like. The wake-up call came this weekend when I mentioned I might need a rest day before seeing him, since I'd just gotten back from vacation, and he tried to use our Dom sub thing to order me to get dressed and wait for him. I immediately got upset, because I never meant for that kind of dynamic to break the fourth wall of our sex life. He apologized, and then spent the entire day trying to convince me to let him come over. It was emotionally exhausting, but it was really hard to hang up the phone. I finally talked with some friends, and they told me how messed up this whole thing seemed. I've been feeling like I'm in some kind of mental haze. It feels like he's inserting himself into my life. He already planned dates for 3 days this week. Next week, he wants us to plan our careers. If I try to set boundaries, he gets sad and launches into this whole campaign to convince me that love is supposed to be all-consuming like this. As a 28-year-old woman, I can see all of this objectively only when I'm not talking to him or seeing him. But when I try to bring it up, I get swept away by his romantic talk and his logic, because he's incredibly smart and convincing. I'm not sure how to get myself out of this right now, except by sending him a text saying it's over and then blocking him. But I feel bad doing that. How do I slow this relationship down, or just leave it? Edit. I am breaking up with him by text, which I'm gonna send after the workday. I'm writing it now. I want to do it politely and cleanly, since he does know people who work at my company. And even after all of this, I don't want to completely disappear without any explanation. I'm thinking of turning off my phone for the rest of the day after that, and hoping he doesn't become persistent. Update. Link in the description. Commenters said to keep the breakup message short and final. This is not what I want. I wish you the best. Then block him. And don't engage. Several people called this classic love bombing. They said he doesn't respect no. He treats it as an invitation to coerce and guilt trip. Some bluntly called him abusive and warned that in real kink communities, someone who ignores consent would be blacklisted immediately. Others were harsher. One commenter told her to act like a grown woman, end it, and stop worrying about his feelings. They urged her to get therapy and figure out why she let things escalate this fast. What do you think about this situation? Is a firm breakup text and a block the right move here? Or is there another way you'd handle someone who pushes boundaries this hard, this fast? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.